hmm Oh, can you hear me? Yeah. Constitution of the United States. Yes. hmm Article number one. Oh, Constitution of the United States, Article number one, the legislative branch. Yes. All legislative powers herein, yeah, granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Now, if you look at this, and you go to section number 8, yes, clause number 18, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or office thereof. Yes. Now you'll notice, yes, that the Congress has the vested power, similar to the police department, yes, where you have been vested with certain powers to execute the laws of the state and the Constitution of the state. Yeah. Now, let's say the state legislature, they decided that they did not want to obligate you to enforce your vested powers as law enforcement. Now, in addition to the other powers vested by law, in addition to any other powers vested by law, yes, there's a general authority of Washington peace officers, yes, and that vesting, yes, is the swearing in of those that are in law enforcement, yes, known as the oath of office for an elected sheriff, right? Those that are sworn in as peace officers, right? And then those that are sworn in as sheriffs, yes, and any other law enforcement officer where the powers are vested by law. Yes. Now you'll see here in clause number 18, the Congress to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, yes, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States and in any department or officer of that government of the United States. Now, when we look at the original design of the actual nation, the Home Rule, yes, and the Dillon Rule mentioned, yeah, some explanation of the founders of the United States of America. They didn't make any mention of any county or cities, or local governments in the United States. This necessarily implied that local governments are creation of state governments under the authority of their state constitutions. While local governments play an important role in states, yes, it is unfounded for local jurisdictions to contend that they are equal to the states. Now, the question remaining is whether local government was created by federal or state government. Now, I would say the vesting, yes, of the Congress makes the federal government vested with the authority to enforce the vesting of state government, which so as to obligate them to revoke, yes, or modify your vested powers of law enforcement. Now, the question remains is whether the county, was created by the federal or state government, yes. And since the federal government's responsibilities are limited to their enumerated powers, yes, the same enumerated powers in clause number 18, making all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, yes, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in what is known as the government of the United States. Now, why don't you get me? Yes, all of those individuals in the federal government, yes, that would say when you refuse to enforce your vested powers as a local police and sheriff's department, yes, and the state legislatures refuse to obligate the revoking of those powers, impeachment of those offices, yes, or the removal from you as a law enforcement officer of the police department, yes, that I can sue the actual Congress of the United States for not enforcing the vested powers, yeah, of this Constitution in the government of the United States and in any department. That would be the Department of Defense, yes. The Department of the Treasury, yes. The Department of Homeland Security, yes. The departments of those. Now, get me the Congress of the United States of America.